The comparison game is truly a trap that everyone should avoid. And even in seemingly good circumstances, it can work against you. So, what do I mean by this? From my own life, there are times when I look to other people, people that I find successful, Richard Linklater, Rob Rodriguez, and so on and so forth. And I look to them as these motivators of what's possible. But the problem is I conflate it in terms of, as if they're like one entity, even though they are all individuals and it took them a number of years to get to that point. And it also takes them a while to do, even just a singular thing, right? But in my mind, it's just one entity, right? And I've also been on the receiving end of it. Not to sound arrogant, I'm very grateful for the people in my life that say like, hey, you're an inspiration to me, like the things that you do in X, Y, Z. And I say to that, like, thank you. That's great. But what we all have to remember is no one knows what I'm not putting out, right? Because there are so many things that I wish I could be doing. And any given week, even this week, like there's so many things I wish I was further along. But as long as I'm making progress, ultimately, it's okay, right? So I think what we have to do is use other people and their successes as ways to, allow us inspiration, right, in the pure sense, and give us that takeaway of how to get there, right? Like that path is paved forward for us by them doing it. But to have a little bit of grace with ourselves, right? And to just, go at it in our own pace. Because I also think like there's this idea, of we have to get to a certain place within a certain amount of time. And it's like we're all on our journeys and the timeline is irrelevant, right? I remember during the pandemic, a big aspect of social media pressure was this, well, now we all have time. And so if you don't finish that book that you've been talking about or that music album or whatever it was within this time, then it was never really time that you lacked. And I was like, whoa, let's take a step back. Maybe some people do need rest. Maybe some people need time to work on themselves and kind of figure things out. So that way, post-pandemic, all of a sudden they could be firing on all cylinders, right? So again, just comparison in general is not good. Use takeaways as inspiration, but never use it as a means to beat yourself up of what you think you should be doing. Because again, even in my own life, I know like I have very high ambitions, but week to week, it doesn't always work out, and that's okay. I have grace with myself. I use the aspirations as motivators to continue on, but when it doesn't happen, it's all good as long as progress is being made. So hope that helps.